Hello everybody, I'm gonna work on one of my favorite comfort foods, which is ramen, but I'm gonna put a twist on it. We're gonna go vegetarian, or actually vegan. So there's a few things that are challenges, but also kind of interesting things to do. It's when you're making ramen broth, you need some like body, right? So with vegetables, it's hard to achieve that. So we're gonna do that with sweet potato, and I'll show you that later. But also too, you want some of that char and the rich kind of flavor broth, because you want to get some of those flavors, and part of it's going to be by charring certain vegetables to kind of get that smokiness, kind of get that flavor going. So what I've done so far is I've got the eggplant, washed it, and then also rubbed a little oil on it. And you can do it on a broiler too. So I've done this method too when you're making like pho broth, but with beef. So you want some of that charred vegetable flavor to come through. Ginger as well I have here. I'm going to do some scallions. The ginger, I did put a little oil on there. Well, this one, I'm just gonna put right here. It's like campfire in your own home. So once again, turn off your smoke alarms and go to town, especially if you've got a small place. But also you can do this on a broiler. So line a sheet tray, foil, light oil on the vegetables and put it under the broiler. I also have dried shiitakes, which I also add that umami flavor to it. It's already soaking in some water. We're gonna use the water in that. On this tray too, we have kombu, which is Japanese kelp that adds flavor to it. Mushrooms, which another part of the umami flavor. So using some fresh and dried shiitake, sweet potato. I also got a yam because this one got a little bit beat up. Ginger, green onion, obviously water, and then we're gonna all finish it up with the miso base. Miso actually will help it get a little more flavor and a little more body as well. But we're gonna start this one. It is a little bit of a process, but I'm sure you're gonna enjoy it. So we'll start there. So you saw the first part of getting the preparation ready for that part of the broth. Now we're gonna take one of the pieces of kelp. I'm gonna use 2 pieces just like that. Cold water, 6 cups of water, put it in there, and then we're gonna bring it up to a boil, real quick boil, and then bring it down, and then we're gonna pull that out. Okay, just came up to a boil. You can smell that nice sea smell richness. So we're gonna pull those out. The reason why, if you leave it in too long, the liquid gets really slimy because you can kind of tell that's kind of how it is. So then I'm gonna add the shiitakes that have already been hydrated. This is another cup of liquid. And then we're gonna put the shiitakes in. These are the dried ones. So that adds a lot of umami richness. Then we're gonna add in some of the charred and fresh. So there's the ginger, like kind of a knob there. And then the scallions. I think this eggplant, I'm just gonna do half. And just put that in there. It's all nice and soft on the inside, but that's gonna add some really good char smokiness. You know, an eggplant has an inherent kind of mouthfeel that you can kind of taste when you make a broth or even like a pureed eggplant. So we're gonna put that in there. And then we're gonna go for some more fresh stuff, meaning the mushrooms that I showed earlier. So these are fresh shiitakes and regular white button. I also have some dried like European style mushrooms like porcini. Adds another little element of flavor. If you don't have them, it's okay. That's gonna be all right. And we're gonna make a big, nice broth. And we're gonna bring that up to a boil again and then bring it down to a simmer and let it cook out. And like I said, you know, it's gonna be a broth. So then we're gonna have to thicken it up with the sweet potato and then add another element of soy sauce, mirin, which is Japanese sweet wine. I like garlic in mine, so we're gonna roast that up and make kind of like a paste, and then add that to it later to adjust the flavor for it. So that's just part one. Noodles I buy, and I'll show you those. I get like Sun brand and stuff, and I know people that make their own. I haven't really attempted that yet, so maybe that's another time, but we're just gonna use stuff that I bought from the store, and we're gonna start this way. All right, so I want you to take a look at this broth. So it's been going about an hour and 15, and that should be about good. So I've added about 2 more cups of water to this. There's no steadfast rule, but like some of the dried mushrooms will suck it in, and so you're gonna need to add some more liquid to get something. But look, if you can kind of tell, the eggplant has the body, and if you could smell it, it smells great. You get a little bit of ginger notes, the onion notes. Obviously looks like a lot of mushrooms, but we're gonna strain that out, and then I'm gonna work on the flavoring agent. So it's gonna be garlic and soy sauce and mirin, the sweet wine, like I was talking about, miso, and that's gonna be the other part, which we'll add into this. Okay, so I'm gonna strain this through a fine sieve and get these things out. And see how all that stuff turns into nothing, but it turns to a nice dark broth. See the color? So it's like almost looks like there's soy sauce and it's rich, but you get that from the charring. That's what causes the color, and you got nice charred flavor too. I'm not gonna press too hard on this. Gonna let it drain off by itself, not to press too much of the stuff through it. I don't think you need a cheesecloth. This is not one of those things, but you don't want to press too hard to let some of the pieces fall out. But there, so you can see that color. And see how the liquid is nothing, but it's got some body to it, and that's what's causing it. all those vegetables as well as the eggplants, creating some nice body. And then we're gonna get some more body from the sweet potato, or the yam, I should say. And the rest. I have a yam. I originally had a sweet potato, a white one, a Japanese one, but it was a little too dry, so it didn't work out. So I have this. So substitute in the time when you need to substitute. But this will be a nice thickening agent, and I'll give a nice sweetness to it. So that's been roasted. I actually use the microwave, but in the oven would be better. But right now I'm using what I have, so nice and soft. But we're gonna hand blend that together with some of the ingredients that I'm gonna make for a sauce. That's gonna go into the broth. So this is the sauce portion of this recipe. So some oil. I've got probably about, what is that, a tablespoon? Maybe a little bit more. I'll put a little bit more in there. Okay, and then we're gonna put some garlic in there. I'm gonna brown that out. It's probably like a teaspoon. Turn the heat up a little bit. And don't worry if it's a little chunky, because, a little more, maybe a teaspoon and a half, because we're gonna blend it up with everything else. So we just wanna get a nice roasted, nice aromatic smell to this broth, and that's what it's gonna do. It's gonna nice garlic, and then after that, I'll show you the rest, and we're gonna make like a little, as long as you're watching it, you can go on high heat, and you want some of that oil in there too, because that's gonna pick up some of that flavor and give kind of almost like a roasted garlic oil flavor. See, I'm stirring it so it doesn't burn, it gets even. So now it's starting, you can feel it kind of pick up and it gets kind of sticky, but it's gonna give that nice roasted garlic. And it's okay because the heat's on. I'm gonna shut it off, and we're gonna rest it with mirin, which is the Japanese sweet rice wine. I'm gonna turn the heat back on and cook that down a little bit. We're gonna go like that, so then you have that nice infusion of the mirin. And then we're gonna go soy sauce, just about that much. And let that cook down a little bit, just to get a nice kind of syrupy consistency. Not super syrupy, but just enough to kind of cook everything and incorporate everything together. Okay? I'm gonna shut that down. Then now I'm gonna add the miso. And since it's cold, I'm gonna use that to heat up. So about teaspoon measurement, so maybe like 2 teaspoons of miso. And then let that dissolve because it's hard and it's cold. So we're gonna put that in there. Heat's off now. Just let the residual heat kind of carry it through to mix it up. I'm gonna use this rubber spatula too to help me out here. And do that. And once that gets nice and soft and incorporated, we're going to hand blend it with the other part, which is the sweet potato. So you just wanna make sure it's incorporated and like heated through, because it's gonna make it easier to blend just in case it doesn't smooth everything out. Now remember, the miso itself is salty too. I did add a pinch of salt to the broth part just to develop some of the flavors to start. So when it starts going, you can taste it. And so the yield I got was 4 cups of the broth, which I'm going to bring here and put that back on the stove, because I'll show you what's gonna happen next. I'm gonna turn that back on to get it hot. So now we have this, and then I'm going to add this to this container, just like that. These deli containers are so handy, not even just for drinking, but for everything else. So that's there. And then sweet potato. So I'm gonna take this, and for the 4 cups of broth, I'm gonna probably put like, not all of it, but most of it. Just like that much. Okay, let's put a cup or so. And then I'm also gonna add sesame oil. So this will guide and give that nice rich brothy flavor. And then when you stir it, it's gonna float to the top and give that beating. So we'll do about a teaspoon and a half, just like that, okay? And then we will take a hand blender. So now I have this like this. I'm gonna add some broth to it just to make it easier to kind of immersion blend. So we'll go this much. Well, I got the other one going hot. So we'll get that here. And I got some broth in there because it's gonna go right back in there anyway, and it's gonna make it easier. But just go slow. You don't want this hot stuff to kind of get you in the face. So see how it's, if you can smell, it looks like miso ramen broth, doesn't it? So then it's gonna add right to that. You can smell the sesame oil and all the spices, and it smells just like ramen broth. So that's what you want. That's the body that you're looking for, a little bit of the texture, because if not, it's not gonna give you that right mouthfeel when you're slurping your noodles. Oh, it's hot, so I'm gonna add that liquid to it and get it together. Now look at that. Look at that color. It's like a nice miso color. Look at that. So we're gonna bring that up to a boil just to keep it going, and then we're gonna re-season it if it needs to, but it should be pretty good. It should be pretty good. Portions for 2 noodles. Water's boiling, gonna cook those up. Make sure you stir them around so they don't get stuck together. And once those are cooked, I'm gonna put the broth back on. So the noodles have been boiling about 3 minutes. But you see with ramen noodles, you gotta keep your eye on them because it gets really, all the starch comes out and it starts to overflow. So unless you wanna be cleaning your stovetop all the time, please be aware of it. I've cooked enough ramen noodles to know it kind of goes on you. So now, I'm gonna strain it and rinse it. So through here, just like that. And to get some of the excess off of it, just like that. I'll just give it a quick, and then shake off the excess, okay? And then there's the noodles here, that's that. And then now I'm going to continue by reheating my broth. Since I only have one burner, obviously I had 4, this will be all going, but we're gonna get this back, and then now we're gonna say, broth is up to a boil, that's good. So it's gonna be, actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna chance it. I'm gonna do this. So this is another thing, you can put it into a deli container like that, make it a little bit easier to pour to the other side. So we'll do that like this. It's a nice rich broth. Take a look at that. It's got some body. If you could smell it, it smells with the noodles itself and the broth, it smells exactly like ramen. So it is that flavor. I'm gonna put that in there, just the broth there. Give it a quick stir, look at that. Oh yeah, see? It's absorbing some of that beautiful rich broth. See, you can tell the body of it too. Some of the noodles are gonna give off a little bit of starch. I'm gonna keep it really simple with the garnishes today. I'm gonna do a soft boiled egg, just like that, sharp knife, clean that up, like that. Some green onions or scallions, just a little bit like that. Nice sharp knife always is a thing, always a thing. So here, I'm gonna give this a shot. Look at that, mix that in together. See, nice and hot. And then you gotta get the slurp. I don't have the chopsticks, which I should have it, but next time. Delicious. So hopefully you try this at home. If you liked the video, then please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you want to see more content, and please comment on anything if you want to see anything or just you want to chat in general. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed this.